I hope everyone is doing what they can to stay healthy and maintain social distancing and self-isolation during this time. I have a lot coming up for you next on TrendSpotting. How's everyone? I'm Cami and welcome back to another episode of TrendSpotting. Here are the topics that had you talking this week. While the island remains in a heightened sense of tension with the pandemic and required social isolation, one family is left dealing with unimaginable grief as their loved one, the first casualty of the coronavirus era, is no longer with them. And all during a painful time when being able to gather close together as a group would be most meaningful in the world. 68-year-old Doreen Jesus passed away at Guam Memorial Hospital. In a news conference, officials say the woman had come in contact with someone who had traveled and tested positive. The patient had multiple underlying conditions prior to the infection, which can suppress a person's immune system. After praying the rosary online for others to share in, Glenn Lujan described Auntie Doreen as one of the best teachers he had ever worked with at Ordot Chalampago Elementary. And her niece, Yolanda Tenorio, will always remember her voice. As for the dozens of other infected patients, officials say none are exhibiting symptoms of distress at this time. Many of you expressed your condolences to the family. During a Pentagon briefing, Acting Navy Secretary Thomas Modly confirmed that the USS Theodore Roosevelt was pulling into Guam after several sailors tested positive for the coronavirus. Modly said they are in a process of testing every member of the crew. Reportedly, more than 20 have already tested positive. 4 sailors were medevaced to Naval Hospital on Wednesday and are in isolation. He added no one on the ship will be allowed to leave anywhere into Guam other than the pier side. KOAM asked the governor about the potential of the ship arriving into Guam during a media briefing on Thursday. However, she deferred comment to the military. The USS Theodore Roosevelt is described as a floating city with about 5,500 Navy personnel on board, 20 of who are originally from Guam. The aircraft carrier is home-ported in San Diego, California, and was recently on liberty on Guam on February 7th. Here are some of your comments on Instagram. At League One said, quarantine all the sailors when they dock. Not a single one steps outside. At Art and Jackie said, what can we do? They brought the 4 sailors here already. I just pray they don't dock the entire ship on Guam. Passengers who arrived from the Philippines last week and were forced into a 14-day quarantine are wondering why they're now asked to acknowledge their quarantine as voluntary. We've been chronicling Dave Sablan's COVID quarantine, and on day 5, Dave Sablan confirmed that they were moved from their quarantine-approved facility in Tumaning to Hotel Row in Tumon.
They informed us that we would start vacating our last hotel at 8 p.m. last night, shortly after dinner. So they started moving us in groups, small groups. But, this is like a bad sci-fi flick.
Just keeps getting worse.
Here are some of your comments on Facebook. Patrick Teague said, it is unethical and wrong to require people who are forcibly detained for everyone's health and safety to state that it was voluntary. Pam Cruz said on the next press conference, please someone ask again about the passengers from Manila mandatory quarantine. It is still unclear and no one can give clarification. It seems like they're all trying to beat around the bush. And Vanessa Taisano-Tovas said, either way, quarantine is required to keep the community safe, especially if you came from a COVID-19 area. Filling the bellies of some of the medical staff and first responders, and as a way of saying thank you for their service to the island and the community, staff from Eat Street Grill, California Pizza Kitchen, Beach and Shrimp, Little Pika's, and Pika's Cafe made deliveries of sandwiches, pizza, pasta, and salads. According to Jerry Pastonas, Director of Operations for International Dining Concepts LLC, on Saturday, food was dropped off to American Medical Center in Manila and Upper Tumon and Guam Memorial Hospital. On Sunday, another round of deliveries were made to the Tumuning Fire Station, GMH, and to the nurses working at Guam International Airport. It was their way of extending their gratitude for all that they do and continue to do during this crazy time. Here are some of your comments on Instagram. At Mrs. Taidigui said, love, love, love seeing this kind of news. God bless you all. And at TNCNC said, you guys deserve this. Thank you for your services and your time away from your life at home. You are more than appreciated.